morning. I'm going to call the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners of August 8th to order. Roll call, please.
Bretham.
Here.
McGuire is absent. Moran is absent. Ortega.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Here.
Zhang.
Here.
And Martinson.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm going to turn to Commissioner Zhang for our land acknowledgement this morning.
Thank you. Every community owes its existence and vitality to the generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land since time immemorial. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We are standing on the ancestral lands of the Dakota people. We want to acknowledge the Ojibwe, the Ho-Chunk, and the other nations of people who also call this place home. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the treaties made by the tribal nations that entitle non-native people to live and work on traditional native lands. Consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that brings us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Zhang. We have the agenda of August 8th presented for approval. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Zhang.
Aye.
Bretham.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
And Martinson.
Aye. We have the minutes from August 1st, 2023 presented for approval. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Zhang.
Aye.
Bretham.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
And Martinson.
Aye. Next up, we have our proclamation for Breastfeeding Awareness Month, and Commissioner Fretham will present that proclamation. If you're here for Breastfeeding Month, please join her at the dais. Ooh, and we've got little babies. Props are always good.
At first,
For a moment, I thought they were real. We have baby dolls. We have training materials. They look very real.
All right, well, I am joined today by public health staff in honor to recognize Breastfeeding Awareness Month. I feel like we're all aware of it. But a good reminder that human milk offers the best start to life. But in order to make breastfeeding accessible to folks, it requires not just an individual commitment and knowing that not every parent is able to do that, and other options are also healthy and safe for parents. But if you are able to do it, it also requires not just your individual commitment, but family support, as well as systemic and structural support. And I was fortunate enough to be able to breastfeed my children, spent 3 years of my life doing it, but it required support. And there's a huge difference between my first experience, where I was able to have my child on site and had a very supportive employer where I could feed on demand, and my second experience, where I had to fight folks for a nursing room and try to schedule it, try to get in between meetings, and had no way to schedule time. And one time I had to pump in my car next to a bus stop on 7th Street, which was not enjoyable. And it was a much, much more challenging experience for me. So knowing that having employer and systemic support, safe spaces, and that time and opportunity is critical. I'm going to read the proclamation and then welcome Megan Johnson, our WIC supervisor, for remarks and to accept the proclamation, and then also Sarah Hawley. So with that, whereas Ramsey County is firmly committed to promoting breastfeeding as the optimal nutrition for all infants and a source of lifelong health protection for infants and mothers, and whereas breastfeeding is a proven primary prevention strategy protecting both infants and mothers from a host of chronic and acute diseases and conditions, conditions, and building a foundation for lifelong health and wellness. And whereas parents face barriers to breastfeeding in the form of unsupportive workplaces, untrained childcare staff, institutional racism, and cultural taboos against breastfeeding in public. And whereas the American Academy of Pediatrics recommend exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life, followed by breastfeeding in combination with introductory foods until at least 2 years of age. And whereas Minnesota has passed laws protecting breastfeeding employees' right to time and space for milk expression and breastfeeding in public. And whereas August 1st through 7th is World Breastfeeding Week, August 8th through 14th is Indigenous Milk Medicine Week, August 15th through 21st is Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Breastfeeding Week, August 25th to 31st is Black Breastfeeding Week, and recently added September 5th to 11th as Semana de la Lactancia Latina. I studied French, I'm so sorry for that. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners declares August as Breastfeeding Awareness Month in Ramsey County, and be it further proclaimed, the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners commits Ramsey County to attaining the breastfeeding-friendly workplace designation and calls upon all organizations to make workplaces and public spaces welcoming for breastfeeding and chest-feeding families. And be it further proclaimed that Ramsey County renews its commitment that families have the information and support they need to reach their breastfeeding goals to make Ramsey County the best community in Minnesota for all breastfeeding families. And Megan?
Excellent, welcome. Good morning, Director Holly.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner Fretham. Madam Chair, Commissioners, County Manager O'Connor. First, Madam Chair, do you want to do introductions
Yeah,
really
let's
quickly?
definitely.
And then
We want to know,
I'll say some remarks.
who's
All right.
here and
You'll
how
know
long
who
you've
I
been
am.
with Ramsey County.
My name is Andrea Pothisan, and I work for the WIC program.
Excellent.
Good morning, I'm Kathy Duffy. I manage the WIC program.
My name is Marlene Stubbe, and I'm a Spanish-speaking WIC nutrition educator.
Good morning. I'm Pa Shasky, the SHIP grant coordinator.
Hi, I'm Ray. I work for the WIC program as a nutrition educator, and this baby has no name if you would like to nominate a name for baby.
Start naming them after commissioners.
Oh, excellent.
Good morning. My name is Che. I also work for the WIC program.
Good morning. My name is Cecily Weber. I'm a dietitian with the WIC program.
Good morning. My name is Leah Yane. I'm with SHIP.
I am Megan Johnson, supervisor and the breastfeeding coordinator for our WIC program.
Hi, I'm Zong Shang. I'm a public health nurse with Family Health.
Hi, I'm Kathy Filbert. I manage the family health program.
Excellent.
Well, as you can see, an incredible team of people and really a big partnership that we have here in Ramsey County. I first want to thank you all for your support in ensuring that we achieve the designation of a breastfeeding-friendly workplace. That's super important. As Commissioner Fretham mentioned, parents face barriers to breastfeeding in the form of unsupportive workplaces. So it's really important that Ramsey County continue to get on board with this designation. Our commitment to this as a county agency not only shows that we are creating spaces and time for breastfeeding employees, but that we also care about the families we serve in programs like WIC, Family Health, Correctional Health, and other programs where we create partnerships to ensure that we provide resources, supplies, support, and space and community that reduces the stigma of breastfeeding and raises awareness, and also highlights that we need targeted approaches and partnerships with community to address the inequities we see in breastfeeding rates in our county. We are also doing this work in spaces where access to breastfeeding supplies and support has historically been limited. We have the Pump and Pickup program, Megan, you can correct me if I get that wrong, that was started in partnership with Correctional Health and WIC. And we are one of the only counties doing this where our residents at the ADC, RCCF, and JDC can pump and have their milk stored and picked up by a designated person so that their babies can still benefit from breast milk. An incredible partnership, so I want to lift that up. Encouraging and enabling breastfeeding, making a difference for working parents is essential so that we improve the health of babies in our county, as we know that breastfeeding babies have a lower risk of asthma, obesity, type 1 diabetes, and sudden infant death syndrome, also known as SIDS. I want to thank WIC, the SHIP program, which is also known as the Statewide Health Improvement Program, our Ramsey County Workplace team, amazing team, for their dedications and contributions to this initiative. Now I'd like to turn it over to Megan Johnson.
Excellent. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Holly. Thank you, Commissioner Fretham. Thank you, board members.
Thank you for sharing your experience, and I can tell you have a deep knowledge. I heard some great breastfeeding information in there, supply and demand, needing support, needing to express milk. All of these things are really critical. I want to explain the babies that we have behind us. These are tools that we use on site in our WIC clinic for direct service to our residents of Ramsey County. We help explain things like we need closeness to our infants. We need them skin to skin. We need to see their hunger cues. And we use these babies to show correct positioning and latch and give people some of the things that they need in the moment to succeed. So Director Holly outlined some of the common people that we see, the common programs. We have family health going into people's homes as well, who do direct nurse-to-parent lactation support. We also have a dedicated peer breastfeeding counselor program, which is a group of employees whose sole purpose is to provide phone counseling, lactation counseling to our residents. They counsel a caseload of 1,200 people at any given time, which is great, the work that they do. Doing the workplace lactation designation for Ramsey County broadly, I just want to say has brought on new partners outside of who usually manages breastfeeding topics in public health. We've brought on board property management. We've brought on board finance, and I think I see finance people here. It's been really great, and you as the Board of Commissioners, creating those budgets, creating those workplace environments that are positive and that help us all. We are mammals, you know that from grade school. It is something that we learn, and so mammals feed their young milk. It seems like it should be, it's natural, it's biological, but it is also a learned behavior. And so it's something that we need a surprising amount of help and support for. And I just want to say I'm proud that I work in this county where we provide support on so many different levels. So I'm really happy to be here, happy for all the mammal employees who work in our county and our mammal residents who get the opportunity to be supported in so many ways. I also noted that deer is on the agenda later on, which also mammals also give their own milk to their young, so common theme for the board agenda today. But really thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate everything we do. Thank you, Board of Commissioners, for this proclamation and the recognition.
Awesome. Well, since you have the microphone, this is a great time for a PSA. How does a new mom or a new family member get involved in WIC and get these services?
Definitely. So people can go to our Ramsey County WIC website where they can kind of just apply online for us. They can call us at 651-266-1300. The phone line, amazingly, is the best way to get in touch with the WIC program. And we serve 16,000 of our residents monthly.
Excellent. Commissioner Shaw.
I just want to just echo some of the comments that Commissioner Fretham made already too about the challenges and barriers to breastfeeding that in our society today here, that it is really a privilege to be able to breastfeed. Yes, it is. And that our WIC clinics are providing that support and trying to change that as well. And I just wanted to add about like how those barriers really are, one, cultural, and two, it's also in the workplace. Mm-hmm. And so I'm glad that we're taking some of those multi-pronged approaches, and that some of those partners that have been supporting, changing workplaces is also the St. Paul Chamber, mm-hmm. that they provided micro grants to businesses. And so I just wanted to lift that up, that there's ongoing work, but there's so much more for us to do to get to a point where, breastfeeding isn't a privilege, that it is accessible to all those who want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Yeah,
thank you, Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you.
Thanks, and we have a board full of parents who have experience in this area and grandparents who are supportive, and so we're really grateful for all the work you do for our women and our children throughout the community. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
And now we'll do a picture, babies included, all the mammals.
Do you want to take off as well?
I do. There you go.
Okay. Yes, that works too.
All right, I'm going to take it from you here. Thank you. I'm going to turn to Commissioner Zhang for administrative items this morning.
Thank you, Chair. I move item number 4, Ramsey County 2023 Cooperative Deer Management Plan. Item number 5, grant award from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for the Continuum of Care Planning Grant. Item number 6, proposed mental health client fee schedule. Item number 7, establishment of withdrawal management services per diem rate. I'd like to move these items.
Excellent.
Second.
Excellent. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Jean,
Aye.
Freda,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Reinhardt,
Aye.
and Martinson.
Aye. Next, we'll move to County Connections. County Manager O'Connor, see if you can outdo Breastfeeding Month.
No report then, Madam Chair? I'm just kidding. Tracy West, you want to come up for a sec? Commissioners received a note yesterday from Deputy County Manager Karen Francois, but we're going to take today to formally get to announce here that Tracy West has been named as the Director of Property Tax Records and Election Services and the County Auditor Treasurer after serving in the interim role since March of 2023. Tracy brings 20 years of financial management, project management, leadership experience to the role. She's been with the county since 2019. It feels like longer than that, but that's because there was a pandemic thrown in there in the middle of it. Prior to being named into this role, she has served as the controller for the Information and Public Records Service team. And before that, she served as the principal financial management analyst in the county's finance and budget office. Before she came to the county, she worked at Ecolab, Universal Hospital Services, and Alliance One. And because I love talking about the random trivia of the county as well, the Property Tax Records and Election Services Department was established in 1849. It's one of the county's founding offices, and it manages the services of property ownership recording, treasurer, auditor functions, overseeing the collection of, as well as the balancing and settlement of, all monies collected by the county and maintaining and issuing a variety of legal documents. It's also, the elections office is the largest elections office in Minnesota, administering state and county elections, carrying out elections duties for 14 cities and 5 school districts within the county. There are 80 full-time employees in the department, as well as numerous part-time, seasonal elections employees and volunteers. I feel like numerous isn't even the right words for that as we think about during election season and everything else. But it's a storied and significant part of our organization, and Tracy, we're really glad that you have said yes to taking on this role. And I'll end with, because sometimes you just get great comments that you see about people from other people in the organization. Someone wrote into Tracy earlier this year in a high five online, and I'll just read a paragraph of it. Words cannot express how grateful I am for your leadership. Actually, they can't express it, so I'll take this time to do so. Kudos to the writer on that. That's a good turn of phrase. You have revolutionized this department. Your leadership and thoughtfulness has brought a renewed sense of collaboration, authenticity, and forward thinking. You continue to push the envelope, expecting excellent performance while balancing grace with the team. You have a keen sense of understanding the needs to the business as well as the needs of our people. These qualities are what make you an exemplary leader. History has taught us that this balanced approach gains buy-in from individuals and teams while navigating sometimes tumultuous terrain. It has also taught us that this approach, when executed well, can amass a great sense of hope and encouragement on behalf of our organization. I can't say it better than that. That's the type of leader we want to see in our organization. It's no surprise that Deputy County Manager Francois saw you stand out through this process. We're really happy. Congratulations, Tracy, on this promotion.
Thanks.
And now I know you have a couple of VIPs here with you today, and so I'd love to give you the mic to share a few thoughts and introduce those who were able to come and see you on this big day today.
Yes, definitely. So first, thank you, County Manager O'Connor, Chair, Commissioners. I'm thankful and grateful for this opportunity and the support I've received throughout my career at Ramsey County, especially Deputy County Manager Karen Francois, my colleagues, team, and of course my family. My husband Dallas is here, and my parents, Roger and Kathy Glanzer, who also retired from cities, so the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
But yeah, my background is in finance and analytics, so I'm confident that my skill set will complement this work and the team. I'm just looking forward to diving into the work and also increasing collaboration between the county, community, and jurisdictions. So thank you so much.
Excellent. Congratulations, Tracy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congrats. And congrats to the family. Two other updates for you. Last week, right after the board meeting, or maybe even while we were sitting here, Director Collins sent an email about the Emerging and Diverse Developers Program around. I don't think I got to mention this last week. If I did, this is a repeat to make sure you got it twice in a row. But the goal of the program is to grow the housing development ecosystem so it reflects the racial and ethnic diversity of Ramsey County. We're partnering with NEO Partners, the Urban Land Institute, and Baker Tilly to provide technical assistance to developers who have developed fewer than 5 projects. Emerging developers will be able to access both one-on-one technical assistance as well as a cohort-based training. Participants will walk away with a better understanding of the development process and how to assemble competitive applications for Ramsey County funding, but really to help build the skills for solicitations more broadly so that when working with other public entities as well. There are 2 in-person information sessions on future solicitations and technical assistance opportunities. The first, well, they're both at the Rondo Community Library. The first is on August 17th. The second is on August 24th. And on our website, ramseycounty.us, there's a / for EDD, Emerging Diverse Developers. If you just did ramseycounty.us / EDD, that would have all this information. And subsequently, we'll be releasing a housing development solicitation September 5th for emerging and diverse developers. So both working on the training side, but also on this side of the solicitation. It'll be open about 8 weeks to give applicants ample time to utilize these TA services and prepare materials as we go forward. This is all part of the economic inclusion plan in the county, and it continues to connect our strategic priority, intergenerational prosperity for racial and economic inclusion. And this isn't in the message you got, but between this and the conversations right now we're having about affordable home ownership, which is the other area of growth, we really see that plan coming to life in all facets here as we go. Thanks to the department, and thanks as well to the board for their continued support for this important work. Finally, I got to last week, it was about a week ago, I had a chance to go over to Plato and wish one of our former employees a goodbye. We had so many county connections last week, I didn't get to do it then. But Key Vang, who many of you have met, you've seen him in a bunch of different roles, was having a farewell. He's moving over to the Department of Health at the state in a new role, a new leadership opportunity. Key has recently been in the Healthy Communities area managing one of our units with public health, but he came to the county as a progressive intern. He spent time in Parks and Recreation when John Oyanagi was here, and John said, wow, this is a really talented employee that we found here, and brought him in then full time after that for a while. He found his way back into the policy and planning team in the county manager's office. Then public health stole him, and he's advanced through a variety of different careers. I raise up Key both because he's been a great part of this organization and a huge influence, and I told him I wanted to give him a shout out here when I could, but also because he represents so many employees who find their way into the organization one way, and then they find multiple opportunities, and they connect with a lot of people. And it was one of those going away pieces last week where I got to say, you're not going far, and we need MDH to understand the work going on here. This is a really good moment for us. And so between that and Maria Sarabia recently moving over to MDH in an assistant commissioner role, I feel like we have some friends in high places nearby, and that's a big deal. And it's a kudos to the public health department here, and it's we're really happy to see MDH stealing some talent and keeping it, though, in a spot of public service to our state. So congratulations to Key, the entire department, and that is my report today, Madam Chair.
Excellent. Thanks, County Manager. You did a great job competing with Breastfeeding Month. So
Not the deer management plan.
No, exactly. I'm going to start with Commissioner Ortega for outside. Thank you. Commissioner Fetham.
Yeah,
Great event last week for our Neighborhood Concerned Citizens group, our group of community members who organized around the TCE emissions at Water Gremlin to really push for a strong and rigorous permit for that plant to keep our community safe. So it was great to celebrate the leaders of that group who have been relentless in ensuring their community stays safe and that no other community experiences what they experienced. I had the state subcommittee on children's mental health. We had our annual meeting electing new officers. Generation Next, we're regrouping on our early childhood work to consider what we want to do over the next year and how do we build broad and support for the Great Start scholarships, which would ensure no family pays more than 7% of their annual income on child care expenses in Minnesota. And then finally, Commissioner Reinhardt and I got to be a part of a great Joint Development Authority meeting last night. Very robust conversation about how we move forward, information about the solicitation closure on Outlot A, planning for a community engagement event, and our goals and priorities on that in October, and what information we continue to need to move forward. So that is my update.
Thank you, Commissioner Fretham. Commissioner Reinhardt.
Well, I think I'm just going to piggyback on a few things that have been said here, first of all. The NCCG was an amazing event, the Neighborhood Concerned Citizens Group. One of the people that lives in the area was a music teacher, and she wrote a song that we all sang to the tune of "Oh Susanna," and she named all of the individuals. When it came to the elected officials, she said the politicians. It was funny, I said to her, I really appreciate the fact that you used the word politicians because it's in a very positive way. And she said, well, none of the other words would fit. So I said, well, I'm glad that that's the case. Anyhow, it was a joyous event. It truly was. And then the JDA, Joint Development Authority with Rice Street Commons. I am also part of the one thing that was brought up there last night was the Energy Advisory Committee. I'm a member of that, and we're really looking at, especially Outlot A, and what we do with that as setting the precedent for what we're going to do because we are serious about net zero and carbon free and moving forward. So there's going to be a lot of discussion around that. The other thing that I wanted to shout out is to Commissioner Ortega. When you were describing the emerging diverse developers, I remember how many times you brought that up, and the fact that we can say that we want to have diverse applicants and developers, but unless we help them, unless we get something in place that actually enables that, it's not going to happen. And you have been talking about that for years. And so kudos to you as far as really lifting that up. And we're in a spot now where we can actually do something about it. And finally, I'll call out to Commissioner Martinson. It is her birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And thanks for the cupcakes you brought this morning.
Okay.
Commissioner Zhang.
Thank you, and happy birthday,
Thank
Chair.
you. Thank you.
I was able to join Director Becker at 3M's Building an Equitable and Excellent STEM Workforce Summit, basically all afternoon last week, and we just had really good conversations about how to promote and make it a place where people who have not traditionally seen themselves in the STEM field to be able to join it. And the work that I've heard about them is like they're having multiple conversations across the United States actually, and they're going to kind of build a roadmap and a plan, a strategy together with a lot of the businesses. And what was most compelling there with one of our speakers who mentioned about why diversity really mattered, that was a takeaway was that diverse groups are always going to outperform homogenous groups. And that's so important because of the different experiences and perspectives that they bring, and that those are actual studies that they've seen that have been done. So that's why it's really important. And then I wanted to lift up some work that our office has been doing around the Met Council's fourth wastewater incinerator that they are proposing at the current facility right now, but they're adding a fourth plant. And I want to give kudos to Michael Reed, our division manager in public health too, with Director Holly, because I learned a lot. I learned a lot about this because, these are just information that not a lot of people in our community know about, or the impact is. There are a lot of questions. And, one of the reasons for it too is because they're just anticipating the growth and the need for the area here. About 500,000 new residents to the service area by 2050. So that's the need for it. And the new unit will allow needed downtime for the existing incinerator to allow for technology renewal. And a lot of the questions that I had was around air quality. And what I also learned is that currently they recover 850 tons of wastewater solids every day. And if we use transportation, it would require 75 tractor trailers per day to remove it out of the site versus the current technology that they use right now. So the technology right now is they basically burn it, and then it gets a lot smaller, and then yes, a lot smaller, and then the water gets treated too. So that's the current technology, and what we're told is that that's also one of the newest and advanced technology for wastewater treatment. So my office will be, right now, they're in the public comment period with the MPCA, so my office will be drafting a letter to submit in for the public comments, just around other alternatives, and also about looking into anaerobic digestion, for example. Excellent. About recovering the energy that's used there, ready to reuse it. So I'm happy to share more about that too with my colleagues. Yeah. That's it. Oh, and then I wanted to add that they will be having a public comment or a presentation in the community next week, Monday. Okay. And it is at the Dayton's Bluff Community Center. I just wanted to add. So August 14th at Dayton's Bluff Community Center, which is at 800 Conway Street in St. Paul. So it'll be an open house where people will get a brief presentation and also get questions, ask questions. And I just wanted to add that this is really important too, because the last time that community members knew about it or got a presentation on this was in 2021. So even though it's been a long time, we're finally starting that process again of that engagement, getting the feedback.
Excellent. Do you have the time of that open house by chance?
Thank you for asking. 5:30.
5:30.
Yep,
Okay.
5:30 to 7:30.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Commissioner Sean. Yes, Commissioner Ortega.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to give a shout.
Wait, we have to set a record. The first time Raphael came back for a roundabout. I just want to write that down.
First of all, thank you to Victoria for the comments. I appreciate it. I wanted to give a shout out. Last Tuesday was National Night Out.
Yes.
And I was out late, and I must have hit about 8 spots. It was good to see all the neighbors come out because of the current environment. People were, I was surprised that they cut it short in many circumstances, but I think that folks are starting to come together as a community and take back the neighborhoods. I remember when this first started back in the 80s and 90s, I was working at Clues at the time, and we organized people on the west side to have National Night Out. And it made a difference, and I think we need to get back to that. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that participated in National Night Out.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Ortega. I had that on my list as well, is that it was a really great turnout of community members. There was a little bit of overlap of National Night Out celebrating as we also legalized THC, and I saw some overlap in the communities in the celebrations, but great community opportunity and people coming together and having great conversations and food. The weather was a little hairy, so some got got shortened, but it was really a great evening across the city, so thank you. I also wanted to just share that this coming Saturday is the Rice Larpenteur Alliance Summer Block Party. This is the event of the summer in Rice Larpenteur, and folks from Maplewood, St. Paul, and Roseville all come together to celebrate the connection of our communities. And so that's Saturday from 11 to 3. Lots of things happening. The county will be there, the cities will be there. There'll be food trucks and activities for all ages, so folks can come to the Rice Larpenteur intersection and see the celebration and join in from 11 to 3 on Saturday. And then last, kind of building on Commissioner Zhang's talk about anaerobic digestion and what's next, I will be traveling yet this afternoon with our team from the Recycling and Energy as we continue to look at what's next for our facilities. So we're working on the anaerobic digester, but we still have other trash in the system that we have to figure out what to do with and how we can convert that to energy. So we continue that work as we move forward. And so we'll be heading out to take a look at other facilities to see how we can convert trash to energy in a clean and environmentally friendly way. So with that, we are going to adjourn. Following the county board meeting this morning, we're going to move down to room 220 for a closed session at 10:30 to talk about development or consider offers or counter offers for the purchase and sale of real property known as the Maplewood Properties South, located in the city of Maplewood. So we will adjourn and move downstairs, and then we will see you all again next week. With that, we are adjourned.